that's my number one question, guys, is what is Arn Tellum's role? And I don't want to be disrespectful, but my mind would be like, why is he still here? Because if you're cleaning house, you're getting rid of the highest paid coach or one of the highest paid coaches in the league. You let go of the man who hired him in Troy Weaver. You clean the entire floor. You don't just leave the one corner dirty. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that, and I don't know what role Arn Tellum has had to play through this whole process, but he's been there. I think you have to start with a blank slate.
I think, and I don't know this for a fact, I don't know how much influence he has in actual player stuff. I know he was major as far as getting the practice facility done and all that stuff, like the Rod Wood type of stuff. If that's all he's doing, cool. But you have to have one person in charge.
248-539-9797. Feedback coming into the Karsch and Anderson inbox. I want someone to ask Gores flat out if Langdon is running the operation or if Tom will give him a blank check to turn his team into a winner, even if it means going into the luxury tax. It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the answer, based on the Monty Williams stuff, is absolutely he will.
Yeah. One question I would have is, what hope can you give the fans that this is going to be different, that this organization can be elevated again? That's from Ryan in a car. I mean, that's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Why is this going to work? And, yeah, I mean, Ryan, I don't know that anybody can say anything that makes you go, oh, sweet. But if you can spell out a plan that says, look, we got this cap space. We've already got some eyes on some players that we're going to acquire. Mm-hmm. We have evaluated our young players and know who we want to build around. And we love our position in the draft, and we have our eyes on some impact guys. Like I would love to hear them say, we are confident, given these resources, that this team can win with much of what we have already. We just need to add. And yeah, I mean, Ryan, these are just
right,
words.
Right.
They don't mean anything. They're just words.
Because I think that would be blind faith. Because I think you have to do more than add to what you have. I mean, they have to get rid of some of their that you thought were building blocks
without question. But I'm not so sure I want them to say we got to get rid of some of these guys.
No,
I mean, the answer probably won't include that.
This kind of builds on that. Do you guys feel like today is a day of hope, a day of a new beginning, or do you feel more skepticism than anything?
I feel hope, but I reset the clock to zero every time something like this happens.
Yeah, so do I.
And so the reason I'm hopeful is because being at zero is better than being at negative 12. I've risen up to zero. I have zero reason to believe this is going to work, but I also have zero. I mean, I guess I got a little bit of reason to believe it's going to fail because the people that are making this hire are the same ones that made other previous hires.
Correct.
But your text from your person in the league.
Right.
Very complimentary of Langdon and his basketball sense.
Mm-hmm.
Question for Trajan Langdon. As you're rebuilding this team, who on the current roster do you feel are the building blocks of this group? Unrelated question for Tom Gores. What are your intentions with my daughter? That's from Bill
This is, for those of you just listening to the Pistons people, that has to do with Bill Belichick and a 24-year-old.
That's a complete.
And it's nothing to do with anything else.
No, that's a joke.
What are your intentions with my daughter?
That's a Bill Belichick reference. It has nothing to do with Gores, and we're not implying otherwise.
No.
Good God.
So funny.
Jim in Trenton says, my question for the Pistons is, what are the core principles in building the roster? Are quality shooters a priority?
They better be. This is 2024. It's the NBA.
Easy. Don't get hostile.
I know. It better be.
It would be great to hear.
Yeah.
This is a league where you have to shoot from the perimeter.
Right.
And we have got to upgrade that portion of our team.
Right. We have one legitimate shooter right now, right?
Well, yeah, and as a team, they're near the bottom of the league in three-point field goals made, three-point field goal percentage. All their core parts, like the guys that the young parts they've got, none of them are above the league average in three-point shooting.
No. I mean, Cade's gotten better. But
yeah, but he's still below average.
I know.
Question to ask, what was the deciding factor in letting Monty Williams go and not keeping him as Piston coach? That's from an unnamed texter.
I'm sure that will be asked.
Jeff in a truck, I would like to know what is the direction of the team and the timeline. Timelines are tough.
Yes.
Timelines are tough because you can paint yourself into a bit of a corner, but I would like to hear them, talk a little bit about how far away they think they can be from A, playoffs, B, contention. Because it doesn't feel close, man.
Oh, no, not at all. Thank God at least they're in the East, which gives them a little bit more hope than if they were in the West. But still, the NBA champion does reside in the East.
Unnamed texter, I would like to ask Langdon about Cunningham and Jaden Ivey and whether he believes it's true that they need to get rid of one of them because their games don't complement each other. Or is it possible that they can work with both of them on the Pistons?
That's a great question.
Yep.
Also a question that whoever the new coach would have to answer.
Josh in Detroit, are we building around Cade or are we completely rebuilding? And how will you handle if your initial plan has setbacks?
Setbacks.
Lord. Josh, I butchered your text and I apologize. How will you handle if your initial plan has setbacks? I will say this. We've done this a lot. What would you like asked?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this is the best pool of questions we have ever gotten from our audience.
Because everybody knows where this team is, too.
Like, this is really some good stuff.
Right.
And people are so tired of losing, they're actually taking this seriously for once, right? Like in the beginning of this, you said, Doug, hey, real questions, legitimate stuff and you would like answered that we can ask, that someone can ask. And I think when you go through a 28-game losing streak, you go through 2 seasons of not winning 3 games in a row, you win less games than the NBA championship had to win through the playoffs this year. We got some real questions.
Yep.